Okay, today we're coming from the Rector Community Museum in the Ford Room, and our guest today is Leland Blackshare. Good morning, Leland.
Good morning. How are you, Joe?
I'm doing good.
I was born here in Rector in 1941, November the 20th, and I cost $25. I was a home delivery by Dr. Clopton Sr., and I've lived in Rector principally most of my life. I graduated high school here in 1959, and I attended Arkansas State University, a college at that time, and with a degree in history and one in sociology. And I taught school here for 4 years and decided I needed to see some territory other than just being here, although this is a wonderful place. And I got a job in Memphis with the chemical division of U.S. Steel. And I traveled the southeastern United States for about 5 years, and I woke up one morning in Holiday Inn in Mobile, Alabama, and I thought, I'm tired of living out of a suitcase. So I was fortunate enough to be hired back teaching in Marmaduke, and I worked there for 31 years for Jerry McIntosh, who was the superintendent. I could not have worked in a better school system, unless, of course, it had been Rector.
Exactly. So you're telling me that you only taught 4 years in Rector?
That's correct.
My gosh, I must have had you all 4 years then.
Yeah, I remember you when you were in high school. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You were a model student, Joey.
No, I don't,
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, you were playing your guitar.
Yep.
And no, you were always a fine fellow.
Well, thank you.
Well, I'm sincere, very sincere.
Well, and I always just thought the world of you. And
Well, thank you.
And I remember after I got out of high school that we hung around a little bit uptown together, and I just couldn't believe I was friends with my teacher, my high school teacher.
Times were different, weren't they?
It was, yeah. You know, but as you get older, you get closer.
That's right. I've always considered you a good friend.
Well, same here. And of course, my fondest memories was the year that you were band director.
Oh boy, I enjoyed that. That was one of the best years of my life.
I know it was mine. You know, and we have a CD of that band.
Well, good.
You remember you recorded that on a reel-to-reel, and I put that over onto a CD.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think there's one here somewhere. I should have had it where we could have played it. But yeah, that was awesome. And I had you for history, and you made history interesting. That was because I was not a fan of history then. I am now, but I wasn't then.
I wasn't when I was in high school. I was not a
But
big
you majored in it in college. Well, so let's go back to the early years, your early years in Rector, when we had big crowds, and especially on Saturday.
My gosh, I had a part-time job. George Bearden and I, we graduated together. George Ollie Bearden and I worked part-time for Claude Tidwell's grocery store on Front Street, and for 50 cents an hour. And if we had a real busy Saturday night, which most of the time we did, we got an extra 50 cents. And you could not, back then you didn't take the cart out of the store. And I wasn't very big, and still not, but to carry 2 big old sacks of groceries up North Main Street from Front Street, I'd have to stop and rest.
Yeah, people don't realize that, but even when I was in the grocery business, we carried groceries home to people's homes.
Oh, we delivered them in a Dodge pickup truck.
Well, we didn't. We walked.
Well, that was even more fun, right?
Yeah, and another thing that I remember about the grocery business is that Dorch's parking lot was gravel,
It was, yes.
and a lot of the people came and bought groceries once a month.
Yeah.
And they would have 2 grocery baskets full once they were bagged back in and we would have to drag both across that gravel. And of course, there was one little shade tree down on the very far end of the parking lot, and the husband would sit in his car out under that shade tree, and so you'd have to drag that grocery cart all the way down there.
Yeah.
You know, and we got to where if there was just 3 bags, we got to where we could actually carry 3 bags, have one each side, one squeeze between them, because it was better than dragging that cart through that gravel. So
Yeah, nobody thought to help you.
no, that's right. They'd sit there in the front seat.
Well,
I started saying air conditioned, but those cars
No.
weren't air conditioned back then anyway.
But the town was full of people on Saturday. Not just Rector, but all small farming towns.
Yes.
They were full, and we had our regulars that waited till about 15 minutes till 10 Saturday night to come do their shopping for a week. And anyway, that is the name of that game, but
So do you think that, we had the drawing here,
yeah.
okay, and, and wasn't it like $25
Yeah.
they added every week?
If
If the name drawn was not present, then they would add another $25.
Yeah.
And didn't the merchants all donate that,
Yeah.
like 50 cents a dollar a piece?
Yeah,
or whatever?
yeah.
And they made that $25.
And the little park here in the city was full of people for the drawing.
Yes.
But as you said, sometime the name called was not present, and it went up and went up. If it got up $75, man, that was a whole lot of money back then.
Yes. And I remember one year, I think that it got to $100. And it was just, you just couldn't believe how many people were here in Rector, Arkansas.
Yeah.
But I've often wondered, was that done in other towns, other little towns around?
I
you
don't
think?
know for sure, but I would guess yes.
You would think so, but I've
It
never
would be
heard
a-
anybody else talk about it.
It
in
was
other towns.
it was a good draw for people to come to town and buy whatever.
Right, and the store stayed open to what, 10?
10. Yeah.
So, Chris, we don't have any stores downtown to do that now, not very many, and if we did, no one stays open till 10. So,
Yeah, it's sad to drive through Main Street of these small towns and hardly anybody, if anybody, would be there. But
it's not just Rector.
no.
I hear people say, well, there's just nothing in Rector, but, it's not just Rector.
Not
It's-
true, yeah.
And, but I will say this. I have a friend, Tommy Max, a disc jockey, and he calls Rector the biggest little town in Arkansas because we have so much going on all the time.
Well, you're responsible for a lot of what's going on now.
Well, but there's lots of things. I mean, little things going on in the little park, and
We got
the
to,
sports complex is running, and the gym. I mean, there's something to do almost every night in Rector, Arkansas. If
Point.
you're looking for something.
a point. Yesterday I was in Piggott, and I was eating, and a man came up to me and said, "You're Blackshare," and I said, "That's right." He said, "Well, I remember when you were remodeling the park, the big park, Labor Day Park." And he said, "It is the prettiest park of its size that I've ever seen. Of course, we planted a lot of trees, but we didn't just throw them out.
Right.
They were planned in different varieties of trees. And the state forestry service gave us 21 trees down there one time, and we still have 17 of them growing.
Wow.
Yeah, and they were all Arkansas trees.
All Arkansas trees.
Yeah, and we still have a pretty good attendance for our Labor Day picnic.
Yeah.
And the first Labor Day picnic was in 1941. Not because I was born that year, but
They weren't celebrating you, huh?
no.
But have you drawn a map with those trees or what kind they are? Would you be able to do that?
Part of it, some of it I couldn't,
Yeah.
probably couldn't remember.
You know, when I was on the Parks and Recreation Commission, we actually had sponsors of trees.
I
At one
remember-
time,
I
we
remember.
knew the names of who sponsored what trees. I know 2 trees out there were sponsored in my dad's name, and I don't. I think I remember which one of them is, but I'm not sure which.
I know where one of them is. It's a maple tree, and it's beautiful every year.
Well, good. I'll have you show me.
Charles Manchester donated thousands of hours to that park, and he could do practically anything. He's died last year,
He sure did. Surprised
But-
everybody.
he was a tremendous help with that park. And people would come through, Charles and I used to laugh and say, "Oh, what a pretty park you have." And we're thinking, yeah, all the sweat dripping off our foreheads. But
Well, you know, I was going to mention that is that there were 2 fellows who put in lots of hours, and the other one was Don Pickler.
oh gosh, yeah,
You know,
Don
and-
Pickler.
Yeah. You know, and people didn't know this, but he came here from Michigan, where he had a landscaping company,
Yeah,
and so you know he built that children's park. That's
I watched him do some of that.
and
He was so good, so smart, and so good at what he did. But, and this is not really funny, but I'd be talking to him and he'd just be walking off, and I didn't know he couldn't hear. But yeah, Don, he was fine fella.
he was, yeah, he was.
And you know,
really good friend of mine.
his sister Linda works in our
Community center, and water department.
water department.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of it for a
Yeah,
second.
Yeah, she's managed the community center for
Yeah.
years and years.
Yeah, and that community center is a blessing because it's used a lot.
And it's still as nice today as it was the day it opened.
Pauline Crockett donated a lot of money for that,
Certainly did.
and then she later had the storage area built,
But, you know,
and the stage.
the stage and the curtains, and you know, stage is portable. You can.
Yeah,
It's like a bunch of table tennis tables, and you fold them up and move them over in the corner.
but all
And
that cost a lot of money.
It did. And you push a button, and the curtains come out and around the back of the stage, and push another button, and the curtains close. It's for not just Rector Arkansas, but it's an awesome.
It
setup.
is.
Yeah.
You know, my cousin Rosie Akers,
Oh yeah.
who's been here longer than I have.
And she's been on this
Yeah,
show too.
yeah, she has, and she's sharp as a tack.
Yeah, she
And
is.
I think Rosie's 86 or 7.
Or 8 maybe.
88. She's 88.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 82.
Yeah.
And yeah, Rosie's never forgotten anything, I don't believe. But she and I would talk. You go see Pauline Crockett, you get a history lesson.
Oh, you know, I did some of this on video where I'd go to the house, and I went up there for 2 days and stayed a couple hours each time.
And that wasn't long enough.
No, but what's funny she just acted like the camera wasn't there. She told so many things that I couldn't make public that I've never got it edited, and that's been years and years. And I don't know if I ever get it edited to where we can play it.
Well, that's all right. That's all
Yeah,
right.
she knew who was having affairs with who.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And she didn't care to name them. So,
That sound like her.
yeah.
Yeah, Pauline.
The Ford Theater.
Ford Theater.
That's what this room is named in honor of, because it was the entertainment of Rector, Arkansas.
It was for a dime on Saturday.
Yeah.
City Western. Tom Ford owned the theater, and his oldest daughter, Rose, a lot of times would run the ticket booth in front, and it held right at 400 people.
400.
Yeah, and many times it was full, not just on Saturday, but Sunday night was the big movie.
Yeah.
And always a big crowd for that. Bill Ford, his son, and then there were the twins, girls, and they pretty well ran the theater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that couldn't have been fun for those girls, because all their friends were out running around.
Well, they did plenty of running.
Well, they did, yeah,
Mr.
sure.
Tom Ford had a big black Roadmaster Buick.
Really?
And you'd see the girls with their hair flying, driving around, and they're both beautiful. And their offspring, today,
Yeah.
A lot of pretty children
Yes.
favoring their grandparents or great-grandparents.
And they're still live here, and they are big supporters of Rector, Arkansas.
You bet they are.
And we appreciate those people who've stayed around and helped try to keep Rector alive. And they certainly do their share. So
Cecil McNeil and Fonzie Mays had a store that the building was recently demolished on
Yes.
Main Street.
Yeah.
But I used to do my bicycle business there. And a lot of us of my generation, we spent a lot of time on bicycles. I met Alan Earls on a bicycle when he moved here from Kennett. He was going to be in the 7th grade, and I was to be in the 8th grade, and he was riding a black and white Schwinn. I'd never seen one. Yeah.
it was
And
Cadillac of bicycles.
oh gosh, yeah, yeah.
Ferraris.
And we would ride our bicycles at night, not just Alan Ray and myself, but a lot of us would ride all over the place as a group.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that may sound strange to people, but it's true.
No, I lived out between Rector and Boysville in the Venetian community, out in the hills, and we rode our bicycles out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Bicycle, man, that was it.
yeah, it was some of those hills pretty tough to climb on a bicycle.
I tried to ride the knob one time. Rosie, my cousin and I, we were going to ride from Hopewell to Knob. Well, we didn't make it up that hill. Not paddling out, not paddling, pedaling.
Pedaling, yeah.
And but I would trade bicycles. I go in Cecil's store. A lot of people bought things on the credit back then. And my grandmother, Leland Twitty, always taught me to pay my bills. And I always have.
Yes.
And I'm proud of that. But I would trade bicycles.
Just like trading cars.
Yeah, yeah. And I had so much fun on one. And the exercise was wonderful.
Yeah.
And I rode a bicycle up until about 10 years ago. And I had a mishap, and I quit riding.
Yeah, same here. I rode almost every day until I broke my arm, and the doctor told me no more bicycles.
Yeah, me too, senor, me too.
If I want to hit that elbow, I'd be in trouble, you know. So, well, I've rode bicycle all the time too, and I try to remember how old I was when I really started using a car more than bicycle. Even after I got my driver's license, I still rode bicycle a lot, and like I say, continued.
Oh, yeah, yeah. My good friend, dear friend, Bill Wood.
Hmm.
Bill and his wife Linda live in Jonesboro now, but Bill and I have remained best friends over the years, and he was a big bicycle enthusiast.
Oh,
And he's left-handed, but we would talk about it. His first car was a 1953 Mercury that his daddy had driven for a lot of years, and Bill was a little reluctant to drive, and I said, well, I just bought a 1953 Mercury down at the car lot for $425.
$425. And which car lot?
One down on the highway.
Was it Groucho's? I don't remember.
Hit your stop button.
I can't.
Okay.
Stop. We'll come back to that.
Okay, all right, I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah.
He sold a lot of cars.
You know, I ran into Groucho some years later at Popper Bluff, and he was living up on the what is that lake up there that everybody goes to?
Wapapello.
Wapapello. He was living up there, if my memory serves me right.
Well, did Groucho have a name?
Groucho.
Oh, that's all I ever
That's
heard.
all I ever knew too. Yeah, yeah. So let's move on up in time a little bit. Where did you play music? I mean, like, I know that you were
Charles Crow.
Charles Crow.
Charles Crow really helped me. We didn't have band here at Rector for 2 years consecutive, and Charles and I would go out to the band room. He'd say, come on, let's go to the band room. He played piano by ear, and he was really good. And Charles was really smart. He was one of the smartest people I ever knew. But he didn't flaunt it. He was just a basically good guy. He worked at the Clay County Democrat because his mother and daddy owned it. And during high school, he was a year ahead of me. But I credit him with helping me so much in music that it was, I couldn't put a number on it. We played a job for the Keynoters. This is some girls from Bragg City, Missouri, and they were good. And we played backup for them in a lot of their performances, and one of them was at the Shell, the Overton Park Shell in Memphis.
Wow.
And Charles's brother, younger brother, played saxophone, and of course I played the drum, mostly with brushes, but it was an awesome experience, and we played a lot of places free of charge. You know, these communities out in the country would have a 4th of July picnic of their own, for example. And we played a lot of those free of charge because we enjoyed playing.
Oh yeah.
And then when I was in college, I started college the year behind Charles, and he didn't play in the college band, but he was well acquainted with the band director at Arkansas State, Don Minx, M-I-N-X.
I remember.
Playing in that band was a life-changing experience for me because you had to be perfect. You didn't start perfect, but you had to evolve to the best of your ability to play in Don Minx's band. And he was such a great guy. just a wonderful person.
It's kind of like when you were our band director, you wanted to be good for you. You know, when you love your teacher, then you want to do your
Well-
very best for them too.
Well,
Not
yeah,
just for
I wanted
you,
you-
but it's for the band. Yeah.
And you were red hot.
Oh,
That band, it was.
That band
It
was-
was
yeah,
red hot, and
yeah.
you played a lot of different places. We traveled to different towns.
We sure did.
Yeah, and it was a good band.
I'll never forget, and Paul C. and I were talking about this the other day. The Christmas parade in Jonesboro, and what do they call it? It's Memphis and May, the Cotton Carnival
Yeah,
in Memphis.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
We made a lot of appearances
Yeah.
in big cities.
Yeah, I remember. Gosh, it was so cold at Jonesboro, that Christmas parade. It
Oh,
was
it
so
was cold. Yes, I was there.
Yeah, you sure were.
It was cold when we played at Pickett too on their Christmas
It
parade.
was, yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
any
Well, the
anything
reason I
else?
became band director was because I was asked to by the superintendent of schools after this fella quit.
Uh-huh.
And the fella whose name I don't remember now was from Memphis. But I told him, I said, well, I'll think about it for a week. Well, after 2 or 3 days, I thought, yeah, I want to do that. It'd be fun, and it was. But by God, you worked hard.
Well, you know, I remember that we got all new music. You know,
Yeah.
we did Johnny Carson and Batman theme and all things that were
Things
popular
that were
then.
fun.
Yeah, they were fun. Yeah, Tijuana Brass.
Oh, the Tijuana Brass. Yeah, the Tijuana Brass, they had several tunes we played.
You know, I just sold my vinyl collection, my record collection.
Did you?
Yeah, but I kept
Tijuana?
I kept about probably 600 albums altogether.
God.
And 20 of them is Tijuana Brass and Baja Marimba Band and
Yeah,
stuff like
I
that.
like the
I still
music.
listen to it, yeah.
The Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
We were playing in the Cotton Carnival Parade in Memphis, going down Main Street, and that was one of the songs we played on the march. And we got in front of this crowd of people there in one spot, and they were all clapping because they were all of Mexican descent. And we played their song, see?
Yeah.
Not even knowing they were there.
That's right. Yeah, you never know.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, what else? You got anything else you want to talk about? Do you have any ideas of what you wanted to say when we came here today? Maybe.
No, I really didn't.
I don't either. I told you a while ago, I was on radio this morning about our show next weekend, or next Thursday night, and I don't write anything down or prepare. I just go do it. Yeah.
It's natural.
Yeah,
It comes to you naturally, and I was banking on that happening to me this morning, but it's not 100% this
Not
morning with me.
100% this morning, yeah.
No.
Well, and well, you told me a while ago how old you are.
I'm 82.
82. Well, I can't even think of my name some days, and I'm will be 72 next month. So you tack 10 more years
Yeah,
onto that.
well,
I'm not
yeah,
sure.
but I don't think about age
Yeah.
until I can't remember something.
There you go.
And
it's with me, it's names. You know.
Yeah, not names.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. You know, name people I've known like the band director a while ago. I can't think of his name either. Goodwin. Was that his name? Charles Goodwin
may have been, I don't know.
from Memphis. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that
And he
was
went
him.
back to Memphis and was very successful in Memphis, I understand. And I contacted his wife not that many years ago, and she said that he had passed away. I think they were actually on a cruise when he passed away. But anyway,
Who was superintendent who hired him? We all know him, he's still alive, and a big booster basketball. Oh, their name is famous.
Busey?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Busey, okay.
yeah, Mr. Busey.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hired me
Jesse
and
Busey.
he said, anything you need, come to me. Because he wanted the band to be playing.
For ball games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and anything else. But, and I went to him a couple of times
Yeah.
and got what we needed.
If I remember correctly, you said, "I'll take this if I can buy new music,"
I probably did.
because Charles Gould was more just like a high school band director, just the old typical things that bands
Well,
play.
if I do say so, we were red hot.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and good marching,
uh-huh.
good, we practiced marching a lot and playing
Yeah.
up on Rose Hill.
And I find that that music is something that kind of creates a brotherhood, brother and sisterhood.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And uh, uh, to remain unnamed, I'm friends with some of the girls that was in the band, and I told one of them the other day, I said, "You didn't know it." No, I said, "You were my girlfriend in band." And she said, "It was." I said, "Well, you didn't know it."
Yeah.
But I'm still friends with a lot of those people that were.
I'm glad.
In band.
You know, back then it was a big deal to be in the band.
Yeah.
It was, not just in this small school, but in many small schools, it was a big deal. And it was so enjoyable. I enjoyed that year, and Paul C. was the assistant director. He was in what grade? 11?
He's 2 years older than me, and so he would have been in the 11th grade. I think.
Okay, 11th grade. But Paul was, and we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But he was big help, big help.
I wasn't the assistant in anything, but I sure liked hanging out in the band director's office. That was the place to be.
Yeah.
You aren't you aren't you just it was just the place to be. It was so much fun to be in.
Yeah, in that atmosphere.
Yeah.
Steve Sigsby
Yeah.
would come to school in the mornings. He'd say, "Did we get any new music?" Tijuana Brass.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah. I love Tijuana Brass. Well, I think we've been on here about 35, 40 minutes. So
Have
it'll
we?
be long enough for people to enjoy. We'll do it again sometime.
Sounds good to me, and I've enjoyed this. And thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your friendship.
You don't
I
thank me
cherish
for
it.
my friendship. I thank you.
Oh man, yeah. All right. Good to see you again.